I'm going to disable comments on this video because, in all honesty, I don't need to hear another perspective on it. I'm going to seem arrogant, the most arrogant and egotistical I've ever been in this video. And you know why? Because I am absolutely right with this. When it comes to the disparity between men and women, women are incredibly self-entitled. Now, I'm not a sexist or, oh, my daughter is my world. But what I do with her, I teach her to be very independent, self-assured. It's like not be reliant on other people, but at the same time, it's don't be the victim of a story. It's really important to self-empowerment, and that's really what I do with her. We've been through so much together, it's crazy. She's seen both sides of everything. So, like, one thing I've always said to her, if you ever have a child, never ever, no matter how much you have an issue with the person involved, if there is an issue, don't use that child as a weapon. Don't ever do that. And these are the morals I'm instilling in her. Now, it can seem quite obvious. You'd think, yeah, you shouldn't do that. But I kid you not, the amount of women I've witnessed very close to me who have actually done it. They've seen the chaos that's happened between me and my daughter, the separation, and in fact, I've had to fight for everything for us to be together. You know, we're inseparable. We've always been inseparable, and I'm not someone that gives up. And again, women expect men to give up. They think it's a, you know, if you make it a bit complicated, they'll give up the fight. They won't keep, because that's how they see men. Women see men as commodities. Now, not every woman and not every man is the same. So it's when I say this, I'm not saying every woman is an asshole. But what I'm going to say is the majority of them have the capacity to be an arsehole, in the same way men have too. But women, they get in their little huddle parties and then they round on men, and I just think this is absolutely insane. They expect everything for free. They expect everything to be given to them. It's absolutely insane. So when you go through divorce, they expect to take the house. They expect to take all the money. They expect everything like it's a privilege for being a woman, because apparently they're vulnerable. They're just entitled to it. They're princesses. Of course they're princesses. And a man can acquire again. That's the stereotype. Now again, not every woman is the same, not every man is the same, but I see it, you just see it time and time again. And something just triggered me. It was simple. It was a soccer football match. It was just showing a comparison. Again, it's generic because you could have other examples, but it did show it, and it was the comments that sort of like made me go, yeah, this is a joke, mate. It was a case of women were playing football, soccer, and a player got injured, and they continued playing on, going around the goalkeeper and scoring a goal, and then they're celebrating like their life depended on it. And it's like, that's pathetic. It's a shallow victory. The whole point of winning is it's competitive, so it's deserved. It's a challenge. You overcome that challenge, and then you score, and it's a victory. It's a victory. You can rejoice in it. But a lot of women take shallow wins. They don't care how they win as long as they win. Even if they have to destroy someone's life in the process, as long as they have what they want, that's acceptable. It's collateral damage. And it, like I say, it triggers me because it's just mental. You know, I do an awful lot. If we're going to just go in comparison to my daughter, I do so much travel. Every time it's the holidays, I used to have travel weekends as well, but it was destroying me. I was like a zombie in the end. It was crazy. My life was completely disrupted. It wasn't really fair for her to do so much travel. It destroyed my car. It wasn't viable financially. So now we're limited to holidays. And I've never once refused to travel to collect or return my daughter. And I have to do 100 miles each way. So for us to spend the holidays together, that's 400 miles in total, because I do 100 miles to pick her up, 100 miles to take her home, 100 miles to drop her off, 100 miles for me to get home. I have to do 400 miles every time it's the holidays. It's crazy. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. You could make my life easier if you really cared. Because effectively, she has to travel one length of the country, and then she had to spend time with, for some people, to spend time with the family. They live opposite sides, so she has to travel everywhere. And if it's about her, she wouldn't have to do all this, you know. But I don't want to sort of round on her mother in any way, because to be honest, we're not arguing at the moment, so that's nice. But when you look at it, the logistics don't make sense. And it's, who is it for? Is it for her or is it for you? And this is where just females, women, they just seem to live in their own little bubble, and they'll make every excuse to why it has to be this way. And no, it has to be this way because you want it this way. That's not a favour. That's not helping me in any way. Because I'm still, look at the travel I'm doing. Your travel doesn't help me at all. I'm still freaking travelling everywhere. And my daughter's travelling up and down like a freaking yo-yo. She's doing all the double journeys. She travels to about 250 miles, I think it is. She travels 250 miles, then I pick her up and I travel 100 miles with her. So then when I return her back, I'd return her 100 miles for then to have to travel 250 miles up again. Is that, how is that fair for her? This is outrageous. And it's what we live with. I don't want to just pick on certain parts, but it just triggers me so much, the way people are. I mean, I know, look, there's some guys out there that are this and that, but people should be working together. It's intolerable. The whole court systems are a joke. And like I said, when a relationship sort of fails, it always seems to be the man that suffers. And it's like, why is that? You see, I hear the stories time and time again. Believe me, I've met people and they've told me what happened. There was one guy I worked with, nice guy, literally a nice guy. I'm good at judging people. I can tell an asshole from a million miles away, and I read people like a book. This guy, yeah, he may have his issues, but there was no way he's deserving of the life that he had. So he separated from his partner, and the woman took everything, and she had a new boyfriend lined up. They took the house. He had to live in a bedsit. And he had to get his life together again, you know. And then he's in a relationship, and the new person now, he's slowly, steadily started to move in. Well, they've talked about moving in, and he had a whole period like this where he's trying to rebuild his life again. And he said to me, like, he doesn't actually. Some people settle in life, and I've never understood that, but that was a situation. So the new person had put a lot of time into him, and they they saw the relationship like developing. So he's thinking moving in, and one day, you know. And I said, do you love her though? And he goes, well, you know, she deserves this. You know, it's weird to me, but it's like some people do settle in life. But how the hell people keep losing and losing and losing is beyond me, and I just can't fathom it at all. I've already said this myself though, I'm not a naive person, but I believe that justice should prevail at some point where people can behave like normal fucking human beings. And I like to think that whoever I end up with will not treat me like that. And if I want everything to be like, I want to test your integrity, character too, you know? So when I get married one day, I'm not doing prenuptial agreements or anything like that. Yeah, I know how malevolent women can be. But it's like, you know what? If you want everything, take everything. You know, I don't give a shit because I can hold my head held high. Now, I'm not saying I expect that of the person I'll be with in the future, because why would I marry someone I think is going to do that anyway? But the point is, I'll always hold my head held high. I'll always do everything for authenticity and integrity. And if it means at the end of it, someone else wants to be devious and malevolent, it's like you can live with those demons. If you think it's good to have your little trinkets and it makes you feel good, then have all of it. Have all of it, and I'll have nothing, and I'll rebuild again. Because guess what? I have the character to rebuild. If your life is just depending upon taking off others continuously, and it's the only way you can have anything, just consider how shallow your life is. And then think of all the meaningless, short-lived relationships you'll have and those connections. It's just a meaningless life. And I think if that's the life you want to build, then you reap what you sow. Again, this isn't me just rounding on women. I just see so much in this. It's like I see a lot in America, for instance. I see these things where, you know, I see the content where a guy's like, he's struggling like crazy. He's giving a huge amount of his paycheck to like an ex-partner because they have children together. And they're struggling to pay their bills because the ex-partner wants half their earnings and things. And it's like, this is absolutely mental. That's not your wife. That's not your partner anymore. It's like, get on with your life and start looking after yourself. You can't keep relying on an ex-partner to fucking help you live. Get on with your life. If it didn't work, it didn't work. If you can't handle the children, give them to them. It's like, you know what I mean? I've always said that. If the shoe was on the other foot, I would never want anything off anyone. I don't ask anyone of anything. You know, I'd happily have my daughter home with me for free and never ask a penny off anyone. You know, I don't care how hard it gets. We can struggle, it's great. I don't care as long as I have that relationship. Where some people see children as a freaking commodity. There's a way to make money off this person. So they use them as a tool for financial gain. And they're happy to destroy someone's life because they feel entitled to their money for some reason. It's like people do this. They end a relationship and they still feel attached to the previous person, like they owe them something. It's like, no, that relationship ended. They owe you nothing. Get on with your life and improve it yourself, you lazy fuck. And look, I'm being very transparent and open here, and I know I'm going to come across as an arrogant piece of shit. But read my books and you'll see there's a lot of grounding to it. But this is just me finally snapping, because I've seen even people in my family The females in my family are fucking cretins, and that's just being honest. They all do the same shit to everybody that they've seen happen to me. They'd say I'd never do that, and they do it time and time again. And it's like they don't even learn their lessons, and yet they think they're all freaking high and mighty and awesome. And it's like, no, you're an arsehole of a human being, and that's why I don't really have respect for you anymore. My circle's getting smaller because I don't trust an awful lot of people anymore. And I have no reason to need to trust them. That's the point. I'm self-sufficient, so then my circle becomes small, and then only those that I trust can come within it. And that's protecting myself. And that's saying, look, I don't mind being at the bottom. I can cope here. I have myself. I can rely upon self, and I feel strong in that, you know? So no one can take off me willingly because I won't allow it. I won't put myself in a vulnerable situation, apart from perhaps that moment when I do get married. And the way I see it, though, is, I know it's naive, but it's like at the same time, you think if you build for failure, you're going to attract failure. So if you're going to set a prenuptial agreement, you may as well not get married because you're already planning for the end. It's like, I don't see the point of that. If I'm getting married, it's for life. And that's like me projecting all this and saying all this isn't what I think of the person who, because I already know roughly who I would consider my counterpart, and they are none of these things. But I see a lot of women that are these things. And I think anybody can sort of sugarcoat it and say, oh, you're so freaking sexist. It's like, have a look in the mirror, mate. Have a look at those around you and tell me the percentage of the people you know or you've come across that act and behave in this way. Because unfortunately, it's the majority. Now, again, I'm not saying guys are perfect, because we've seen many examples of absolute dipshits and cretins of the male race, of course, you know. Seen it myself. But I think people behave a certain way because that's just what they're ingrained with, you know. What they've seen happen time and time again. You just see guys working themselves to death to support a previous life. That's what it seems to be, and it's crazy. And unfortunately, a lot turn to suicide. And you know, you hear the stories, and I can see how that happens. A lot of people have a hard time resetting in life. If you've put a lot of time and effort into something or someone, and it's all getting taken from under you, and you feel like you've got to reset and do life all over again. It was a heavy period to achieve that area of your life, let alone do it all over again with the risk that it happens again anyway. And I think especially women, they can make men feel like failures, like you're not doing enough to support the family. I need you to do this. Meanwhile, they're sitting on their phone doing fuck all, eating a takeaway, you know, watching daytime TV, and they've got no aspirations at all apart from the fact that you need to be doing more for them. It's like, why don't you just fuck off? Well, and that's why you're seeing a lot of guys be single nowadays. You're seeing that a lot of women are saying, where's all the guys? The guys have had enough. The guys have said, fuck it, I don't need this shit no more. I can build myself up. I can live a humble life. I can live fine. Yeah, I would love to have love around me, but how much of love really is there in this world? Because it just seems to be people pretend to want to be in love, but really they're just looking to take. There's a woman I saw a year or so ago on TikTok, and she said, if someone can't provide me with a Range Rover, then I don't want them. I thought, no one fucking wants you either. What are you talking about? Why would someone want to purchase you, you dipshit? That's not love. You know, I could go on a huge rant here and I can keep losing my call. But the reality is my daughter is my world, so I'm not anti-females at all. I'm empowering her to be a different breed of woman that I think is incredibly rare. She'd be self-empowered. She's not reliant upon other people. She has respect for others, but more important, she has respect for herself. So she won't be looking for handouts. She won't have an expectation that you give her this and you give her that. You know, it's just, she's very grounded. She's incredible now. She's funny as hell. She's a catch to anyone. I watch her and it's like, you are amazing, and you're going to be amazing as a woman when you grow up, you know. And I'm incredibly proud of her all the time. And it's like, you know what? There's not many out there like you. You will be an incredibly rare breed in this world, amongst the many cretins that exist. And again, this isn't just males as well. A lot of people in this world are just horrible, and it's just lame, you know. So when you see these things where it's like, my country's better than yours, it's like, let's be honest, most countries are shit. And if we look at people on a whole, most people are assholes. And that's the reality. So I write my books, I tell my story, I try to educate people. I'm trying to help people just get back to reset and get back to who you are at your core before all this shit happened in your life. And then it's like having respect for yourself and then build yourself up. And if we can all start to do that, then the world becomes better, and then we can actually meet some nice, likable people, not these cretins that look to just pretend to take. And it's like I said, I see it close to home. I see it in those closest to me. And I'm like, you're an arsehole, you're an arsehole, you're an arsehole. I don't want you near me. I don't want you near me. I'm all right on my own. I'll keep my space. At the moment, it's like my circle's getting smaller. I'm happy just to spend time with my daughter. I trust her with everything. And everything I build will be for her in the future, you know. So it's like, I'm happy with just us two, you know. And if that special person comes into my life, great. I trust you wholeheartedly. But I don't want people that are toxic around me anymore, you know. And that's just life. I know this goes anti everything, but my daughter is my world. I'm not anti-woman at all. I'm just like anti this freaking life we have right now, where everything is toxic and nothing's fair, and everything's there to destroy people's morale, bring them down, make them worthless, make them lose hope of life, and then they take their life early. And it's like, what a waste, when you could have just changed course, and instead of keep investing in other people, start investing in yourself. That's a good place to start.